Welcome to the deep dive. We're here to cut through the noise, get straight to the real substance. Today, we're taking a deep look into what's happening in Thailand, and our guide is Northern Lights, the dispatches from the Chiang Mai Journal. You might know it offers this great window, not just headlines, but culture, current events, expat life, the real feel of northern Thailand and beyond.
Exactly. And for this deep dive, we're really focusing on their very latest updates. We're talking top news stories from just the past 12 hours, June 27th, 2025. The idea is to give you a quick but still pretty thorough understanding of the key things moving in Thailand. Politics, economy, social issues, straight from their reporting. We want to get past just what's happening to maybe understand a bit more about why it's significant.
That's the goal. Think of it as, well, your shortcut to being properly informed without getting bogged down in, endless feeds. We'll pull out the most important bits, the surprising details, and try to connect some thoughts for you. So the big question as we jump in today, what is really shaping the story in Thailand right now? How do all these different pieces fit together? Let's start with something really quite dramatic, a human story that sounds almost unbelievable. It's about an 18-year-old Thai teenager. They're calling him Louis. He apparently escaped a scam farm operation in Cambodia. And the details are harrowing, leaping from an eighth-floor window after facing torture, being forced into online fraud. It really puts a face on a terrifying reality.
It really does. These aren't just abstract scam farms, They're essentially forced labor camps, often run by organized crime. Victims like Louis get trafficked, coerced into running scams, investment fraud, romance scams, you name it, hitting people worldwide. His escape, jumping from that height, it just underlines the sheer brutality and the global nature of these networks. And it puts huge pressure on authorities, obviously, to rescue victims and bring them home.
Wow. That's, a really powerful and disturbing place to start. Okay, shifting gears, but still on the theme of major disruption, let's look at Thailand's cannabis industry. This sector, it's grown incredibly fast, worth nearly $1 billion now, but it's facing, chaos seems like the right word.
Absolute chaos. The government's plan to recriminalize cannabis has thrown everything up in the air. This isn't just tweaking a rule, it's a full reversal, and it impacts thousands, maybe more. Think about the small farmers, people who poured their savings into this, the dispensaries that popped up everywhere, even tourism that leaned into it. You see this tension, right, between the economic opportunity and maybe public health concerns or social control. And the government's basically hitting the brakes hard on a massive established industry. It definitely raises questions about, policy consistency and what happens next for everyone involved.
It certainly does. Okay, so from individual survival and huge industry shifts, let's pivot to politics and regional stuff. That's definitely shaping the narrative, too. Tensions seem to be rising visibly at the disputed Thai-Cambodia border. Prime Minister Pattongtarn was there recently, visited the site. That kind of visit always sends a signal, doesn't it?
Oh, absolutely. And what's really interesting is how quickly Cambodia's Senate President Hun Sen matched it. He toured his side of that same disputed border. It's classic tit-for-tat diplomacy. It really highlights how sensitive this border issue remains. These areas, historically, they've been points of friction for a long time. Disagreements over maps, temples, sovereignty claims going way back. So these visits, they might look ceremonial, but they're really about asserting control, maybe shoring up support back home on both sides. It keeps that flashpoint simmering.
Right, keeping it on the radar. And speaking of dynamics back home, the political waters inside Thailand seem pretty choppy right now, too. The prime minister, who's been under some pressure, is apparently preparing for a no-confidence vote. For anyone less familiar with the system, this is basically a challenge in parliament. Can the PM still command a majority? It's usually brought by the opposition, but this time the challenge comes from the Bonja Thai party, supposedly part of the ruling coalition. That signals some serious cracks, doesn't it?
It really does. That's a critical development for political stability. It could affect everything, governance, major economic decisions. And speaking of the economy, there's also a big change coming at the central bank. Looks like a leadership contest is shaping up. They're talking about a face-off between sort of an outsider candidate and a longtime veteran for the governor job.
Interesting. And sticking with the central bank, they've been quite clear about the Thai baht recently. The deputy governor basically promised they'd step in to curb volatility, said they'll intervene if the baht moves, quote, unhinged from the fundamentals. What does that mean in practice?
Well, it means they want the baht's value to reflect Thailand's actual economic health, things like exports, tourism strength, not just get pushed around by, say, speculation or global market nerves. So if the bat suddenly weakens much more than the underlying economy suggests it should, the bank will act. That could mean buying or selling currency, maybe adjusting interest rates to stabilize things. It's about buffering the economy from shocks, providing some predictability for businesses.
Yeah, that predictability is key, especially for an economy so linked to trade. And on that note, looking outwards, Thailand's gearing up for some important trade talks with the U.S. Finance Minister Pichai Chunavajira is heading over next week, apparently, to negotiate agreements. That could be pretty significant.
Absolutely. Good trade deals can unlock new markets, boost exports, attract investment, all crucial for growth. And talking about investment, there's been a major green light just given. Thailand's Board of Investment, the BOI, approved a huge Chinese data center project. Led by Stratus Technology, it's worth around 727 million US dollars. That's what, 23.7 billion baht? That's a massive investment. It's a big vote of confidence in Thailand, especially in that critical digital infrastructure space.
Definitely shows Thailand's pull for foreign investment and its role in the region's digital future. Okay, shifting slightly to physical infrastructure. An update on Motorway 6. Looks like the opening has been pushed back, delayed to 2026 now. A bit longer to wait.
Yeah, delays happen. Hopefully it leads to a smoother rollout eventually. And one more thing on the horizon, future events. Preparations are apparently really ramping up for the ASEAN Para Games in 2026. They're being held in Nakhon Ratchasima. It's good to see those plans moving forward, showcasing Thailand's ability to host big international events and focusing on inclusivity too.
Okay, so let's try and pull these threads together. What does all this tell us about the story unfolding in Thailand right now?
We've covered such a range today. I mean, from that incredibly personal story of survival, Louis' escape, all the way to high-level trade talks, huge investment deals, and major policy shifts like the cannabis situation. These aren't just random headlines, are they? They really weave together into this complex picture of modern Thailand. They absolutely do. When you start looking at how they connect political stability or instability, influencing economic choices, social issues like trafficking, having links to those regional border dynamics we talked about, and big economic moves like the data center investment shaping the country's future path, it all paints a much richer picture. These things aren't happening in isolation. They're all part of Thailand's current journey, defining its position in Southeast Asia. And it raises a really interesting question for you, listening at home. How might these things, the policy changes, the regional tensions, actually affect daily life for people in Thailand over the next few months?
That's a great question to ponder. And maybe one final thought to leave you with. Given everything we've touched on, the fast pace of change, all these different challenges, what are the really fundamental questions Thailand seems to be grappling with right now? Questions about governance, maybe societal values, its place in the region. We definitely encourage you to keep exploring these themes. Maybe even dig into the source we use today, the Chiang Mai Journal, for more perspectives.